It's Medical Monday, and we are talking about hearing solutions. If you are suffering from hearing loss or know someone who is, this is the show that you need to be watching tonight. And feel free to call in. 615-737-PLUS is the number to call. It's right there on the screen. I have Dr. David Gnewikow from Advanced Hearing Solutions in Mount Juliet with me. And this may be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Okay. Do you always need 2 hearing aids?
That's not a dumb question at all. I get that question quite regularly. So the answer is no. When we see people who have what we call a symmetrical hearing loss, meaning their hearing loss is the same in both ears, any audiologist is always going to recommend hearing aids for both ears. The reason for that is that helps us tell where the direction of sounds. Our brain uses input from both ears and can kind of measure the sound in this ear versus the sound in this ear. It's a pretty cool concept. And when that sound is balanced, it helps us have better spatial awareness, better be able to locate where sounds come from. Using 2 ears together, balanced, also helps us hear better in background noise. The best scenario I can give you is if I have a hearing loss in my left ear and I'm driving a car, I've got noise on the left side, I'm not getting any help on the right. Or if the waitress comes up on the side that I don't have a hearing, so I could make a lot of scenarios where, especially in a noisy situation, the brain being able to use the 2 ears together is very beneficial. But certainly we do sometimes fit just one. A good example of that is myself. I wear only 1 hearing aid. I wear a hearing aid in my left ear. My right ear is normal. My left ear has a hearing loss because, as I've explained, I've been around some loud noise. And so that's a perfect situation where we would never recommend 2 if we have somebody with a normal hearing ear. Another situation is sometimes there is a hearing loss so severe, person was born without hearing, or something caused them to lose 100% of their hearing, where a hearing aid won't help on that side, and we're going to only recommend 1. And then the third situation would be, sometimes people say, look, I need some help. I can't afford to get 2 hearing aids right now. Can I just get 1? Will 1 help me? And the answer to that is yes. I mean, and certainly I would lay out, okay, there will be some limitations, like, okay, do you drive the car most of the time? Well, maybe we need to talk about doing the right ear. Where does your spouse sit at home when you're watching TV? I mean, kind of some, again, some sort of spatial arrangements that would help us determine which ear to do. But absolutely, you don't have to have 2. Definitely we hear better with 2 ears than 1, but that doesn't mean that you can't get benefit from just using 1 hearing aid.
You brought it up, the financial aspect of buying hearing aids. Sure. I have to imagine that is a big thing that keeps people from walking in the door as well. Definitely. What is a realistic expectation when it comes to the cost? Okay. And tell me about insurance and what plays in and what doesn't. Okay,
we're going to go into the next hour if that's okay, but no, I'll be glad to try to answer that as briefly as I can. So, just rough estimate on cost. If you go to a hearing aid specialist, or if you come to see an audiologist, you can expect to pay for a pair of hearing aids. I'm going to say average is $3,000 to $5,000 for a pair. There are certainly more expensive technologies out there. There are some more kind of entry-level products that are a little bit lower than that. But that is where most people are. I would say 95% of our patients fit somewhere in that $3,000 to $5,000 range for a pair, again, for 2. So insurance is a long story. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. The first thing is Medicare does not cover hearing aids. So we get that question. I hear my staff answer that question every day. I heard it twice today. No, ma'am, I'm sorry, Medicare doesn't. And don't be mad at us, it's not our fault, but Medicare just doesn't cover hearing aids. A lot of insurance companies set their protocol based on what Medicare does. So we call insurance to verify people's benefits, and they'll say we follow Medicare guidelines, which means whatever Medicare don't pay for, we don't pay for. Excuse my bad grammar right there. There certainly are some insurances that do have a hearing aid benefit. What we do is we say, bring your insurance card, or if you don't want to come in, you just want to check it, we are glad to call and check that for you. We are used to making those calls and know the right questions to ask, and so we can verify what the insurance benefit is. I would say of the patients that we see, 30% probably have some insurance benefit, and rarely is it we pay in full, but a lot of times it's we pay $500 or we pay $1,000 or we pay $2,000 toward the cost, and then the patient is responsible for the balance. So certainly it's worth checking into. You can call your insurance carrier, find out what if you have hearing benefits and what they are. We always verify those also when somebody comes into the office.
Does it make a difference if why the hearing is lost?
Not really. The only exception to that I'll say is some insurance companies will say we cover hearing aids if it is a result of an accident. Meaning you were in an automobile accident and something happened which caused hearing loss, but they usually figure out a good way out of that. Right. Sorry if insurance folks are listening to that conversation. I can't say that I've ever had somebody, maybe one or two in my career, that kind of got through that loophole. Most of the time, it doesn't really matter what caused it. It's either they covered or they don't. Yeah,
anybody who's dealt with insurance before knows the runaround you get in a lot of different ways. Right. So it's a big investment. How long should you expect your hearing aids to work and last?
So I say on average 5, 6, 7 years is a normal life expectancy on hearing aids. Now, I say that for a couple reasons. First off, that's the national average, not necessarily our office, but the national average is probably 5 or 6 years. Several things happen over 5 or 6 years. The first thing is you put 200,000 miles on your car. You know, you put some mileage on it. This is something we wear on our body, heat, perspiration, you know, wear and tear. The second thing is technology changes. So if you look at your phone in your pocket or sitting next to you, from today versus 5 years ago or 7 years ago, there are significant differences in technology. And the other is, you know, the hearing itself can change. So hearing changes, technology changes, and wear and tear. Those are kind of the three things that put me to sort of that 5 to 7 year period. I have patients that have had hearing aids for 10 or 15 years. We may have had to do some repairs, but if they're still hearing with them, wonderful. We'll keep you in those. I have some people that are always wanting the newest technology, and every 4 years they're in to try something new and get the better technology.
Should you expect your hearing to still get worse when you're wearing hearing aids?
Okay, that is an excellent question. So the answer to that is probably. Okay, so I have heard it said, and I have had a lot of people that have come to my office that have said, well, I went to such and such, I won't say any names, I went to such and such hearing aid place, and they told me if I didn't get hearing aids, my hearing was going to get worse, and if I got hearing aids, it would help it not get worse. There is about 5% truth to that statement and about 95% exaggeration to that statement. So in general, what I tell people is, for the most part, your hearing loss is going to progress how your hearing loss is going to progress. Now, we've already talked about limiting noise exposure and doing good things, so obviously that can play. But if you have a genetic hearing loss that is progressive, I can't tell you that getting hearing aids is going to stop that progression from happening. There is a little bit of research that shows for very severe hearing losses that wearing hearing aids consistently can keep the understanding ability a little bit better, and that is true. There is some research to that, but there's not necessarily a cause and effect relationship between I bought hearing aids and I wear them and my hearing never gets worse, or that my hearing can or won't progress at all, you know, if I'm using them. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to take another quick break. We're coming right back after this.